Our chief football correspondent Alex Crook is here, who for some reason had a little sing-song on the Sunday session yesterday afternoon too.
I missed that, Crookie.
Didn't miss a lot.
Don't be shy,
so
Crookie.
backwards.
Come on. You weren't last week.
The smile on your face.
Well, this is Crookie apparently.
Lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in your eyes saying you'll never leave me.
Touch of your hand says you'll
It was tough to tell which was Ronan Keating and which was Alex Crook.
I've got to say that was the vocal cords after 5 days at Glorious Goodwood as well, so that's my excuse.
Brilliant. Now, what was the story behind that?
So we had a bash in Tenerife for one of the producers' birthdays, and Scott Minto, knowing that I was a bit keen on karaoke in that particular song, volunteered me in a bar. It wasn't even karaoke night. Basically, I had a paid singer, and I took the stage and sang that song, much to Scott Minto's delight.
Did you get a little ripple, Crookie?
I did,
after?
actually. Yeah, I was better in Tenerife than I was on the Sunday session.
Yeah, or in Germany. Was it YMCA? Did I see you doing YMCA in Germany?
I did.
Brilliant.
Spreading the love.
Look, let's get down to the serious business, shall we? Lots of transfer stories around at the moment. Shall we? We'll start with Conor Gallagher. And, you know, anything happened yet? It seems like he's been pushed towards Atletico. I don't know about you. I'm not convinced he really wants to go there.
Well, I think he wanted to sign a new long-term deal at Chelsea. There's no question about that. He was offered a 2-year contract. I think he felt that was a bit disrespectful when you look at the fact that Moises Caicedo was given an 8-year deal. Romeo Lavia, who's barely kicked a ball in a Chelsea shirt, was given a 7-year deal. He played started 37 of 38 games in the Premier League last season, was made captain by Mauricio Pochettino. So I think I understand where he's coming from. And it was touch and go, you know, whether he would make this trip to Spain. I got a message very early this morning, woke up to it about 5 a.m. to say that he would be flying out today to undergo a medical and put pen to paper on a 5-year deal. But I think this is one where a lot of Chelsea fans are scratching their heads. It's yet another academy player that has been sold by Todd Boehly and his co-owners to help balance the books. And
Crookie, I don't care how much you want to play, whatever style you, 1 touch, 2 touch, you want people to play through midfield. You need people like Conor Gallagher in your squad.
Agreed.
And in and around your club, and I think in your team more often than not, if you want to be successful. I really do. That type of player, dedicated, hard-working, you know, always wants to get himself out there week in, week out. Knows he's not the greatest footballer, Conor, but has lots of other strong attributes. And you need people like that, solid citizens in your club. I'm really, really surprised and disappointed, actually, the way that he's been treated.
And also someone who knows the fabric of the football club. And Chelsea have let an awful lot of those type of characters go. If you look at the team that they had when Todd Boehly came in, and you look at it now, they've let so many big characters go. Not just academy products, but you know the likes of Azpilicueta as well. Antonio Rudiger, they messed up with him. You look at what he's done since. So we're going to get into this at 10 o'clock because me and Darragh McAntony disagree. He thinks that Todd Boehly is building the club the right way. I think he's been a car crash.
Yeah, interesting. If he does go, a lot of speculation about that well-known Dane, Matt O'Reilly, Matthew Sean O'Reilly, to give him his full Danish name, coming from Celtic. Would he fit the bill?
Well, he's a player who's attracting a lot of interest. Atalanta, Southampton, 2 of the clubs who are monitoring it. Brighton have been mentioned as well. But I'm told he is on Chelsea's list of potential Gallagher replacements. And again, the question that I would ask Chelsea fans, is that really a step up?
Yeah, well, again, look, Matt O'Reilly he's a talented footballer. There is no doubt, but we've seen talented footballers rock up in the Premier League and struggle and find it difficult, so we'll see.
Mark Guehi being linked with a couple of clubs, isn't he? I'm looking at Newcastle because obviously they've got Fabian Schär and Sven Botman, but you know they're not blessed with centre halves.
No, it's certainly an area that Eddie Howe is targeting, and I sense that confidence is growing. They can get this deal done. It's going to take a lot of money. I was told before the Euros that Palace would want at least 60 million. And of course, Guehi is one of the few England players you could argue who really emerged from that tournament with his reputation enhanced. There was some talk that Liverpool could make a rival bid over the weekend. I'm told that isn't the case. And at the moment, Newcastle seem to have a clear run.
Yeah. And what about Julian Alvarez? What's happening there?
Keep an eye on Atletico. I'm not sure they're going to get to the £70 million that Manchester City are looking for, but I think he's the latest player that is in the camp whereby if you're not entirely committed to the football club, if you maybe see your future elsewhere, that Pep Guardiola would be willing to let go. There was interest from Arsenal at the start of the transfer window. So far, they've not revisited that interest, but they do need a number 9. I guess he's not an out-and-out number 9, but I would argue that maybe he's got the potential to be more prolific than Gabriel Jesus.
And maybe just at City, Jeff, as well, he's just probably spent too much time always kind of having to come off the bench, you know, there comes a point as a player.
He's a bit part player, hasn't he? You know, pretty good bit part player. But, I mean, a lot of people, I think, Crook, you're looking at West Ham this transfer window and think they've done pretty well with Kilman and Crescencio Somerville. And they'd have done very well if they get Nicholas Fulcrook.
I think so. When you look at what he did for Dortmund and their run to the final of the Champions League last season, I thought he had a really good case by the end of the Euros to be Germany's number 9 ahead of Kai Havertz, made a real impact coming off the bench. It's a big contract, 4-year deal, I'm told, for a 31-year-old, so he's going to be 35 by the end of that contract, but they've been after a number 9. Obviously, John Duran was their top target. So far, haven't been able to do a deal with Aston Villa. But I think you're right, quietly, I think Julian Lopetegui is being backed in the market, and I fancy West Ham to have a decent season.
Just want to touch on Liverpool just for a second, Crook. Fabio Carvalho, I know that Southampton are keen on him, but and Liverpool don't appear to be keen to sell anymore. Do you think he's now become part of Arne Slot's first team plans?
I think he's certainly a player that they think has a high ceiling, and £15 million, which was the initial offer, is nowhere near enough to tempt them to cash in. I think it would take a big offer, and it wouldn't surprise me if he gets some game time this season. Obviously, there's extra games in Europe because of the expanded Champions League. So I would imagine that Carvalho will be in and around the first team, and he's a talented boy, no question about that, and maybe this is his opportunity to shine.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.